AITAH for announcing our pregnancy at my brother's wedding after he proposed at mine. Throwaway because my family uses Reddit. I, 28F, am married to my husband, Mark, 30M. My younger brother, Evan, 26M, just got married last month. What happened at his wedding has basically split my family down the middle, and I honestly don't know anymore if I crossed a line or just finally stopped being the bigger person. For context, Evan and I have always had a weird sibling dynamic. Growing up, he was the golden child. Whatever he did was charming, and whatever I did was dramatic. I learned early that keeping the peace usually meant swallowing my feelings. 2 years ago, Mark proposed to me. We planned a small but beautiful wedding, nothing extravagant, but very us. Evan and his then-girlfriend Lena were invited, of course. During the reception, right after our first dance, Evan asked the DJ for the mic. I thought he was going to make a toast. Instead, he dropped to one knee. In front of everyone. At my wedding. Lena looked shocked. The guests started clapping awkwardly. I remember standing there in my dress, smiling so hard my face hurt, while my mom whispered, "Isn't this exciting?" like I was supposed to be grateful he chose my day. Later, I told Evan privately that it hurt. He laughed and said, "Relax, it's not like it ruined anything. There was enough attention to go around." My parents told me I was being selfish for even bringing it up. I let it go. Or at least I tried. Fast forward to last month, Evan and Lena's wedding. By then, Mark and I were 14 weeks pregnant. We hadn't announced it publicly yet, but we planned to soon. I wore a slightly loose dress, but I was glowing, and a few relatives kept asking if I was hiding something. At the reception, during speeches, I was supposed to give a short toast as the sister of the groom. Halfway through, my nerves got the best of me. I joked about new chapters and then said, "Speaking of new beginnings, Mark and I are expecting." There was a beat of silence. Then scattered applause. Some cheers. Lena's face went tight. Evan stared at me like I'd slapped him. The rest of the night was tense. The next morning, my phone exploded. Evan accused me of stealing their moment and doing it on purpose to get revenge. Lena said I humiliated her and turned her wedding into my announcement party. My parents said I should have known better and that 2 wrongs don't make a right. But here's the thing, no one had a problem when Evan proposed at my wedding. I was told to smile, be understanding, and not make drama. This time, suddenly there are rules? I didn't plan it months in advance. I didn't grab a ring or hijack the DJ. I made an announcement during my assigned speech. And, honestly, part of me feels like if my moment was fair game back then, why wasn't theirs now? Still, I can't shake the guilt. Lena hasn't spoken to me. My mom says I should apologize to keep the family together. So am I the asshole? The fallout didn't happen all at once. It came in waves. The first wave was Evan. He called me 2 days after the wedding, not to ask how I was feeling or how the pregnancy was going, but to tell me how disappointed he was in me. He said I had turned the happiest day of his life into some petty payback scheme. I reminded him, calmly at first, that he proposed at my wedding. He sighed like I was a child bringing up ancient history. That was different, he said. I asked Lena something personal. You announced something that involved everyone. That sentence stuck with me. That was different. Somehow his life-changing moment deserved grace, and mine deserved restraint. When I pointed that out, his tone changed. He accused me of being jealous. Said I'd always hated that he could do things bigger. Then he dropped the line that finally broke my patience. You've always needed attention. Even now. I hung up shaking. The second wave was my parents. They invited Mark and me over to talk things through. That should have been my first red flag. The conversation started with concern about the baby, but quickly turned into damage control. My mom said Lena's parents were upset. My dad said Evan felt betrayed. Then came the real ask, an apology. Not a mutual one. Mine. I asked, point blank, if they thought Evan owed me an apology for proposing at my wedding. Silence. My mom finally said, that was a happy surprise. This was an announcement. You made it about you. Mark spoke up then. He rarely does in family conflicts, but his voice was steady when he said, it was already about them. She spoke for less than 30 seconds. That didn't go over well. My dad accused Mark of putting ideas in my head. As if I couldn't possibly feel wronged on my own. We left early. The third wave came from the extended family, group chats, side messages, passive-aggressive comments on Facebook. One aunt said I should have learned from past mistakes. A cousin messaged privately to say she thought it was iconic, but didn't want to get involved. Even my grandmother called to say, pregnancy is wonderful, but weddings are sacred. I started questioning myself. Maybe I had crossed a line. Maybe 2 wrongs really didn't make a right. Then, a week later, Lena messaged me. Not to reconcile. Not to ask about the baby. She sent me a screenshot. It was a text from Evan dated 3 months before their wedding. She agreed, but only after warning me that Evan didn't know. That alone told me more than any argument ever could. We met at a quiet cafe. Lena looked exhausted. Not just wedding exhausted, but emotionally worn down. She congratulated me on the pregnancy, genuinely, and for the first time since all this started, I felt like I was talking to a human being instead of a role in someone else's story. She told me the proposal at my wedding hadn't been spontaneous, like Evan claimed. He'd been carrying the ring all day. He told her, people will remember it forever. When she hesitated, worried it might upset me, he brushed it off. Said I was used to sharing attention. That hurt more than I expected. Then she told me about the wedding planning. How Evan insisted everything be perfect. How he kept joking, half joking, about how I might try something at their wedding. When Lena asked what he meant, he said, she wouldn't dare. She knows better. I asked Lena why she sent me the screenshot. Not minimized it. Actually owned it. He called me bitter. Said pregnancy hormones were making me irrational. Then he said something I don't think he meant to say, but did anyway. Mom and Dad are on my side. You'll lose. I closed the door. The next morning, my parents called. They said Evan was heartbroken and that I was tearing the family apart over pride. They asked me to think about my child and whether I wanted them growing up in a broken family. That word, broken, hit me harder than anything else. Because for the first time, I wondered if the family wasn't breaking. What if it had always been broken, and I just stopped pretending it wasn't? I didn't answer my parents right away. For the first time in my life, I let the silence sit. Mark and I spent that weekend talking, really talking, about boundaries, about what kind of environment we wanted our child to grow up in. He asked me a question that stuck with me. If this wasn't your brother, if this was anyone else, would you accept this behavior? The answer was obvious. And uncomfortable. The response came quickly. My dad said I was being rigid. My mom said I was punishing everyone over the past. Evan didn't respond at all. Lena did. She told me Evan had refused to apologize. Said that, as the brother, he had the right to do what he did. She said she didn't agree, but she was tired, newly married, and didn't have the energy to fight him on everything yet. That word, yet, sat heavy between the lines. A week later, my parents posted a family photo from Evan and Lena's wedding. I didn't offer more. Here's where I've landed. I don't think announcing a pregnancy at a wedding is ideal. If I could rewind time in a vacuum, maybe I'd choose differently. But life doesn't happen in a vacuum, it happens in patterns. And the pattern in my family was clear. Evan's milestones were celebrated, mine were shared. This time, I didn't share. I claimed. So no, I don't think I'm the asshole for refusing to apologize for existing loudly in a space I was always told to shrink in. And if my child learns anything from this, I hope it's this. You don't tear a family apart by setting boundaries. You reveal the cracks that were already there. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.